Hey everybody, Forever Retro 82 here. This is just going to be a short video of a product review of something I just purchased recently. This is the Retro Link USB 6-button controller for the Sega Saturn Bean controller. As you know, I said in my Saturn video that I still believe that the Bean controller is the best controller for retro titles because, for one thing, a lot of arcade games use this setup. You know, like especially Street Fighter. You have the 3 buttons here, A, B, and C, X, Y, and Z, and you also have the triggers. And, well, the first thing that you're going to realize when you hold this controller, well, first of all, buttons are a little too small for the casing, but it doesn't seem to affect gameplay at all, so that's good. And it feels a little light in the hands, which to me is fine. I don't like heavy controllers. I remember when I first held the Xbox Duke controller, and I really wanted to break that thing because it was just so heavy. It was annoyingly heavy. It didn't need to have that much weight to it, but they fixed it with the S controller, and then the rest is history. I still don't like or care for the Xbox console or its console line or its products. I just don't care. I was never a fan. It's just not my thing. So, right. Anyways, it comes in the box like this. You know, very generic. You know, very little to say in the ways of things. I mean, there's no instruction manual. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. I mean, look, it's plug and play. It's USB enabled. Well, no shit, Sherlock. And then there's a 6-foot cable, which is going to be bad for some people with certain setups. My monitor and computer setup is right here. It's in front of me. So I don't have much of a problem. But some of you that like to have their shit far away, you know, to preserve their eyesight or whatever the fuck, you're going to have to get some kind of extender dongle or connector to have it. Granted, it works, because I've had problems with controllers that don't work with those extenders or connectors. But your mileage may vary. Now, I got to read the back of this. It's to me, this is comical. You know, very slapsticky, because just some of it's just nonsensical. Okay. Always dreamt of using your Saturn controller with your favorite PC game? Now you can! Retrofitted by Retrobit and this Retro-Link USB. That's a lot of retro in one sentence, for fuck's sake. Controller plugs into any PC or Mac with a USB port. Well, no shit, Sherlock. Giving you that classic Genesis feel. Okay, first of all, that's not what you're trying to fucking... you're not trying to replicate here. You're trying to replicate the Saturn. I get it. The Saturn Bean and the Saturn... Or, excuse me, the Genesis controller... You know, they share similarities, but they're a lot different. First of all, the Genesis don't have triggers on there. It's just 6 buttons, and then away you go. Right. Whether you're spinning through the loops in Sonic the Hedgehog or racking up frags on the hottest PC multiplayer, who the fuck is gonna play fucking FPSs on a D-pad? Especially modern-day FPS games. There's not one motherfucker I met in this lifetime that uses a fucking analog on a goddamn... or a digital pad on an analog-based game. I mean, Doom, it was acceptable because everything was controlled. It was built around that. You could use a mouse, keyboard, or you could use a D-pad. I mean, the experience is the same. But modern day first-person shooters like Doom, Wolfenstein, you know, the upgraded versions, you need mouse and keyboard, or if you're one of those dual analog control type people, then there you go. But no, you wouldn't use this. Come on. Now you can go old school with every weapon in your arsenal. That's a load of shit. Right. Anyways, we're going to put this controller through 3 tests to see if it's worth your money. First of all, I'm just going to explain that this is only $10. So, you know, you kind of get what you pay for, per se. But the test I'm going to do is I'm going to play fighting games, because fighting games are the best way, at least in my opinion, to break a controller in. I'm going to play the Genesis versions of Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat. I'm not going to play through them all. I'm just going to play a couple matches and let you know what my findings are, and you can see for yourself how it performs. And then the final game, which will either make or break this controller for gamers out there, is King of Fighters 2002 Unlimited Match. Because as you know, King of Fighters uses a lot of roly commands. Like roly-poly commands. I mean... For instance, to do the Ryoko Rambo with Ryo Sakazaki, you got to basically do the motion for Hadouken, which is quarter circle forward, then half circle back, and then punch. So that will see how much this can sustain in terms of that. So without further ado, let's go ahead and I will commentary on how it feels in my hands, how it works, and you can see for yourself how it works by me doing the commands, and I'll explain if there's any kind of problems, what problems I do have. So with that being said, let's... Alright, so now I got some Street Fighter on. So let's see how this works. Pick Hyper Fighting 2-star. We're just going to play a couple matches, see how it pans out. I'll pick my boy Ryu, however you pronounce it. It's up to you. I got his blue color. Alright, let's see. Okay, there we go. That works good. Okay, I noticed if you do it a little slower, it works okay. If you do the motions. I mean, it seems like it works better on the left. How about Shoryuken? Works just fine. Fantastic. Alright, let's do it on the right-hand side. Because some of these controllers that are at this price point require, it works better on one side, but not on the other. Alright, it seems to be working alright. Blanca, you're a cheap bitch. Fuck off. Get off. Alright, I couldn't do Shoryuken there. Like I said, that just could be me. Because, well, I'm trying to kill Blanca because he's a fucking asshole. But it really feels good in the hands when you're controlling. I mean, it doesn't feel uncomfortable at all. There's no jaggy, plasticky pieces that are sometimes with these controllers. So that's good. Yeah, moves are harder to do facing the right-hand side, so... Why is this being fucking cheap? I don't remember this game being so hard. Then again, I play the SNES version, and maybe that version's easier by default. I'm just gonna spam. I'd like to spam. Wow, I lost against Blanca. I am officially the worst Street Fighter 2 player to ever walk the earth. Alright, well, let's play. I'm not playing for real anyways, but then again, that's no excuse. Okay, let's try this again. Alright, I'm able to do it now. You just gotta press a little harder, not by much. You just gotta press a little harder on the right-hand side than you do on the left. The left, you can just do you can just go and do it, and it works just fine. But on the right-hand side, you gotta press a little harder. Usually, that's a sign of something not aligned right when they put it together in the factory. So that's kind of disappointing. But it's not. It doesn't break the game. It still works just fine. I don't mean to be spamaholic here, but this is a way you can see if a controller works right. Alright, you're just being a fucking cheap piece of Brazilian shit. Fuck off. See that shit? God damn. Alright, I'm just gonna spam the fuck out of fireballs and shit, because this is pissing me off legitimately. I am not this bad at Street Fighter. See, on left, everything works fine. I can throw fireballs with ease. Alright, I got his fucking ass. Okay, so it works alright, it just requires a little bit of a harder button press. Here, I'll do one more. Why not? Yeah, you just gotta press, like, like just a little bit harder, and then it works just fine. You can't just roll your thumb like you can on the left side. You'll get used to that over time. I had to use SNES controllers that actually were worse for this. So the rolling motions on this controller are not the best, but they work okay. They work well enough. This side, it's beautiful. So yeah, rolling motions, not so great, but let's see how it does with the tappings of Mortal Kombat 2, because that game don't use rolling motions. You can, but the game rather have you tap than roll. So let's move on to Mortal Kombat. Alright, here we go. We're going to test out Mortal Kombat 2 with this control setup. Hopefully the tapping fares a little better than the rolling. That doesn't give me high faith about King of Fighters. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there. I'm going to play just 2 matches. Now what's weird with this port of Mortal Kombat is you have to enable your 6 button. Otherwise it's activator by default, and if you don't have an activator connected, it's just the 3 button. Kind of a pain in the dick, but whatever. Just play a couple matches and see how it goes. Yeah, it works fine. With the tapping aspect, works just fine. No problems whatsoever, actually. You know, it's a shame that this port is so poorly optimized because, I mean, the animation, the idle animation, and the sharpness in the characters look better than the Super Nintendo, but the animation is choppy, and you don't have the lower duck punch, which takes the out of the equation of some combos that you're able to use. And here's a little trick I learned by playing this game once I get to Fatality. Basically, to do the juggler cut in this game, you don't have to hold high punch and press down forward. No, all you have to do is hold the high punch button, go up to him, and let go of the high punch button, and then you're done. I know, this is my cheap way. Alright. See? That's it. You don't have to do the motion. All you gotta do is hold that high punch, walk up to the guy, and then let go. That's all. I don't know why they put that in this version. I don't know if it was just an afterthought or it was accidentally coded that way. It's one of those things we just won't understand, I guess, in this regard. Yeah, so this works perfectly. There's no controller problems whatsoever here. D-pad feels great. The moves all work. I'm able to perform everything with no problems. You may be asking, why aren't you doing the takedown move? Because it barely works. The computer blocks it every chance it gets. Here, I'll even prove that. See? Every fucking time. That's why I never use it. It's just pointless. Same thing with the spear. Unless they're close by and you get them off guard, like that. Yeah. Let's see if I can do pit on Raiden, whatever. Yep, this works flawlessly. No problems whatsoever. So, Mortal Kombat 2 has passed with flying colors, but now we get to the meat and potatoes. Let's see how King of Fighters holds up with this controller. Alright, here we go. KOF 2002 Limited Match. Let's just start a match, pick my guys, and we'll go for it. Alright. This game has a great soundtrack. You know, as you guys know, I'm a rock metal fan, so. Okay, oh, Kim works fine. Shingo would just calm the fuck down a minute, see if I can do anything else. Okay, Seppuku kick works good. Ryoko Rambo. Uh-oh. Not working. Von Redskin works. That's not even what I was trying to do. There we go. You have to do it slower and press a little bit harder going towards the right-hand side. The right-hand side of the controller. Let me see if I can do it facing right. Because it makes no sense if you can do it one way and not another. Okay, that works good. No. There we go. After a couple tries, it works, so this is not going to be useful for King of Fighters. Unless somehow the D-pad magically starts working properly when doing the control functions. I mean, I can do everything else, as you can see. I've done pretty much all of Ryo's moves here, except Holosho Goken, which I'll try to do next if I can. Fucking Lin would just call him his tits. No, that's not even what I was trying to do. See, I can't do Holosho Goken either. There we go. Took a minute. It's like you have to press the D-pad in a certain way in order to get it to recognize. That's unfortunate. See, I got it working that time, but facing left. But when you do it in the right-hand side, God help you. All right, let's pick Andy. Let's pick my boy Andy. Okay, I mean, facing here, because most of his moves are done by using the opposite side of the D-pad. So quarter circle back on the left-hand side, it works just fine. Now this, on the other hand, okay, it's working. But can I do his Shoyu Repodon on this side? Okay, that worked just fine. Okay, then why is Ryo having a problem? Huh. I guess it's just hit or miss. I mean, over time, that may change, because some controllers need to be broken in properly, and I've had this thing a little less than a week, and I haven't really gained much on it. Calm the fuck down, Chris, you dumb shit. Figures he repelled that, of course. Fuck off, here's a kick to the fucking head. Piece of shit. Yeah, it's hit or miss. Sometimes the move will work, other times it won't. Which is odd, because with the Xbox 360 controller, the move actually works flawlessly for the most part. I mean, see, as you can see there, I can get it to work. Other times I can't. I don't know why. See, like there, I was trying to do Shoyu Repodon or Shoyu Dan or whatever the fuck the move's called. My mind's not working today. Alright, well, I'm back to using Ryo. Let's just finish this match and then we'll end this review. See, I'm sitting here trying to do Ryoko Rambo and it's not working. Now it's working. See, it's hit or miss. That's the only way I could put it. Well, you know, it's still playable, just hit or miss, hit or miss. Anyways, let me go ahead and wrap this review up. I'll give my final thoughts and the score and all that good stuff. So, let's go ahead and do that. So what do I think about the Retro Link USB Saturn Model 2 replica? Well, it's not bad. It really isn't. Unfortunately, like games like King of Fighters, it's not going to be the pad you're going to want to run to or go to. It just doesn't register all the time. You know, I don't want to sound like DSP here because I know how he is, but it's the truth of the matter. It's just some like okay, I don't know. I'll try to show this on my camera as best I can. Okay, when you go this way, it works absolutely flawless. But when you go this way, it doesn't seem to respond as well. It's like one side works just fine, the other does not, and I don't understand why it is. I mean, Street Fighter, it will work. You just got to press it slower and a little bit harder. And when you're in a really heated game, especially with your friends, if you play retro games and tournaments and whatnot, you don't want to have to like carefully press it a certain way for it to work. That's the only problem I have with the controller. But with other retro games that don't require rolling motions, or for arcade games that don't require said rolling motions, once more, not to be redundant, it'll work just fine. It'll be perfectly usable for retro games that just are to move around and shoot and hit shit. You won't run into any problems. Because I've actually used this controller on other games like Castlevania, Mega Man X, Mega Man, and 5, because I love 5. That's my favorite one. And next to 2. And then 1. Well, let's not go there. And, other games. Let's see. I'm going to look at my game collection behind me. Because there's a couple more games I tried that I wanted to try for, certain purposes. I tried it on TMNT2 arcade game, the arcade game, and Cobra Triangle, because those games you gotta move the D-pad a lot when it comes to how the game plays and the aspect of it. So, is it worth your money? $10 is not. I mean, that's almost throwaway money. So, absolutely, for that price, it is. But if I had to give it a rating on a 1 to 10, I'd give it a 6.5, only because the right side seems to not register enough when it comes to fighting games. And normally what I get these pads for are for fighting games because I enjoy them. But unfortunately, for games that require rolling motions, once again, I'm being horribly redundant, it just doesn't match up. So I'll go ahead and if you want to pick one of these up, maybe yours will be better than mine. I don't know. Maybe it's just mine. I don't know. It's $10. I'll go ahead and well, it's actually $10.85 or some shit like that. I'll link it in the description, of course. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you enjoyed this controller here. It's like I said, it's not a bad controller. It does the job, and it does it right. So that's good because, like I said, the D-pad, while is a little iffy here and there, it still works better than an Xbox controller. I can tell you that right now. So with that being said, I am Forever Retro 82, and I hope you enjoyed this video. And we'll see you on the next one. Keep gaming, keep loving, rock on.